What's up, and welcome back to Nowstalgia Pod, giving you your weekly look at what's going on in pop culture. But tonight, we're giving you your look at what's going on at the Academy Awards. Dave, uh, whew, so just to preface it, right? We did our Oscars predictions. We were pretty much like, this might be the most boring Oscars we've had in some time. Everything seemed pretty locked up. The acting categories, directing categories seemed pretty much set. Best picture, we're like, maybe this could happen, but we all thought it's gonna be chalk. This night was anything but chalk. Dave, Parasite, the big winner tonight. 4 Academy Awards, including Best Director for Bong Joon-ho and Best Picture. A foreign film won Best Picture.
First
Dave, your
time.
reaction?
Absolutely insane. Absolutely incredible. Parasite won more Oscars than 1917. Insane. I guess there was like little hints when 1917 didn't win production design and Once Upon a Time won that instead. And then when 1917 only won one of the sound awards, not both, Ford versus Ferrari getting in the mix. I guess that was a start, and the next thing we know, the Bong wave begins, and man, it's it's amazing when you actually see the best movie get recognized like this. You think back to Moonlight, maybe even Spotlight to a lesser extent, but certainly Moonlight winning, where they actually picked the best movie, the movie that people like the most, and we were so prepared, so ready for the movie that people like, but not nearly as much as this movie to win in 1917, and it didn't happen. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and I think where I had gotten to, and where a lot of people had gotten to in 1917 was, it's not a bad movie. It's a good movie, well made, technically incredibly impressive, but when you compare it to a couple of the other films, specifically for me, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Parasite, it was like, man, how can you not have one of those win? And to see Parasite with what it did on every level, the technical achievement that it was, the writing achievement that it was, the acting achievement that it was, and to break through in this way that only one other foreign film in the last couple of years I can think of, and Roma, has done similarly. Just so impressive. And man, when it won for Best Original Screenplay, that was the moment I was like, huh, this night might be going in a different direction than we all thought it did. What was your reaction to that?
So that was one I thought was possible because of the Writers Guild win, but yeah, I mean that's a huge category, and yeah, to see that, I was starting to get ideas, but I was prepared to be let down throughout. It's funny. I think overall the show went pretty well. I mean, there's some things to critique as usual when you're talking about 3+ hour broadcasts, but yeah, man, this is truly a landmark Oscars. Like, you can't overstate it.
Yeah, and Bong, when he got up there for the international film, had a very nice speech. Ended it with "I'm ready to drink." He felt like his night was over, and then he wins for directing. If you watch and stop the reactions, pretty much all the directors were like their eyebrows go up, especially Sam Mendes, who was like, I think he felt like it was in the bag for him.
Right.
And Bong gets up.
He was right to think that 15 of the last 16 Directors Guild winners won Best Director. The only time that didn't happen was Affleck for Argo when he wasn't nominated for Best Director. So we have to go back to, this is the first time in 16 to 17 years. Like it's kind of insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Bong gets up there and has an absolutely amazing speech, giving praise to all the other directors. Gave Scorsese a very nice moment, and Tarantino as well. So that was just getting to be his lovely self up there. And then they actually won for Best Picture, and I'm still like kind of reeling from it. Man, it is nice to see. How do you explain this? Do you think this is preferential balloting at its finest? Where a lot of people were probably like, Once Upon a Time first, Parasite second, or 1917 first, Parasite second, kind of like splitting it that way, but really that like number 2 spot coming in strong.
Yeah, well, you think with preferential ballot, if Parasite has just the most fans where very few people are ranking it very low, that's helping it, right? And I mean, we talked about it with the predictions episode, but there was just a lot of, data points with Oscar history and award season history suggesting that 1917 was also a very uncommon, unlikely Best Picture winner in the same way Parasite was, just in terms of winning. Both films did not have any acting nominations, and like, and 1917 didn't have an editing nomination. Like, there's just some important bellwethers that both were missing. So it was tough to look at the certain precedent. So I'm not sure if just maybe 1917 just didn't have enough broad support as we thought. Maybe the technical support was there, but then you think of screenplay, acting, certainly weaker points in 1917, relatively speaking. Perhaps that goes it led to that. I don't know. We'll never know. They don't release the votes. We have no idea how close it was, which is frustrating. But
release the votes.
Yeah.
Give it to us.
I mean, and thinking too, just looking back, I mean, 1917 won the Producers Guild this year. That's won 10 of the last 12 Best Pictures, but the other two times were Moonlight and Spotlight. So it's man, this is really gonna. There'll be a lot of pieces about how this prognostication didn't work. But I mean, that's what I said last week. I was like, well, we have the SAG win for Parasite, actors makeup, like the biggest group of the Academy for sure, over thousands of members or actors. So that was the hope, right? But I was a little worried when it didn't win Best Editing, and Ford versus Ferrari won. Said I was like, oh, Parasite might be falling off now. But man, happy to be wrong about that sentiment, man. This is so wild.
What a moment. Yeah, very, very pleased. And don't usually walk away from the Oscars, especially after last year and Green Book winning, having the whole buildup of Bohemian Rhapsody and the critique of that as a movie. It just kind of felt like coming to this year, we were just destined to have an unsatisfying ending. So to have something this satisfying is just like it's like a straight shot of adrenaline into the system for me right now. I mean, there's a lot of other things to talk about. What other wins tonight moments really stood out to you? What was your takeaways from the night?
Sure. Ford versus Ferrari winning editing and sound editing. That's awesome. Looking at all the wins, there was some stuff that we had predicted. We felt we're really confident are almost locks, right? Little Women costume design, Bombshell makeup, Joker score, Rocket Man original song. There was a lot of stuff we were confident in, but you look at the Best Picture field. Funny enough, of those 9 movies, the only one to go winless tonight was The Irishman. Funny enough, and that makes Marty's now the first person to go 0 for 10 twice with Best Picture. He also did it with Gangs in New York. I just saw that tonight. A few months ago, and we said this with the predictions, when we thought Irishman Once Upon a Time would be bigger forces this year. Irishman going winless, I thought that was blasphemy. You told me that one on Thanksgiving.
Absolutely, but I think it's one of those things also where they kind of ran into a buzzsaw in some of the categories. Like you're thinking maybe Pesci or Pacino will get a Best Supporting Actor, but Pitt just locked that up from the beginning. Right. Also a great moment when he got up there. I thought his speech was very charming, very Brad Pitt-esque, which is nice. Then you look at like Best Actor category. That was also locked up with Phoenix. So then you're moving down into the technical categories, and an incredible year for technical work in movies. And the visual effects was probably the category that had the strongest chance due to the de-aging and just the extent of it. But visual effects went to
1917,
which I mean, amazing technical achievement. So it's just one of those years for it, unfortunately. Still an awesome movie, and I was glad to see the awards spread out the way that they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone getting a little bit of love. JoJo took home adapted screenplay. You already mentioned Little Women getting the costume design. Score went to Joker. And you were saying that the person that won for that is a Tony away from an EGOT?
Yeah, Hildur, she just won a Grammy for Chernobyl. Not sure how that works again, but yeah, so that's good. That's cool. we know Cynthia Erivo is still only a Oscar away for EGOT as well.
Crazy.
We know how talented she is. And I think an interesting theme, I guess, or recurring aspect of the show was the prevalence of music. Like, we know they're going to do every best original song that was mentioned. We know they're going to sing for In Memoriam. Okay, that's a lot of music. But then they add Eminem doing a full rundown of Lose Yourself.
Why?
Previous best original song winner back in like 03, I believe. Which he didn't even accept that award at the time. And then there's also that, I forget his name, the guy who did like the rap recap real quick, basically doing a Lin-Manuel rap, Manuel rap, but not being Lin. Yeah,
a lot of music.
And I think it still moved pretty quickly overall. I thought the show, like, there wasn't any like major low points to me, but I feel like we could have trimmed that music, because you think there wasn't any like montages. Fuck yeah, because they just did montages with the acting noms, which I thought worked really cool.
Yeah.
So it was still pretty tight, but yeah, too much music.
No, I completely agree that I thought the montages worked well. It felt pretty tight. I felt like there was a bit of a lull around the time they're doing most of the technical categories, which they always have. I wonder if there's a way for them to do like a medley of the best songs, or the songs that are nominated for best original, because like it's awesome hearing Elton John, but a couple of the other songs, I just was like, let's just move this along. And Eminem, I mean, what the fuck was that? Like, why? I still don't understand. Literally, when he came out, I just was like, this is so pointless and just going to make us run over time. Already, they went 30 minutes over time. How about like people that came out to give out awards? I had a couple of people that stood out for me as good presenters, but I want to hear from you first. Who stood out to you?
Yeah, I think one other thing we could have tweaked was sometimes, not every time, there would be someone in like the stands in the walkway, an actor presenting the presenters, like introducing them. Like it just cut off the flow. Like Zazie Beetz did it for the doing the score medley. Like, didn't need those. That's fine. Like I feel like with the announcer and the way the presenters were going, the lack of a host was relatively inconsequential once again, but like that was another weird choice, like the excessive music. For presenters, I really liked Will and JLD, Will Ferrell. They were hilarious. Wasn't sure what bit they were doing at first, and then like they really rocked it. Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph just being themselves. That's awesome. And early on, Diane Keaton I thought was really funny, perhaps unintentionally. And then, the cats joke. Yes. That was amazing. Truly a great callback to have that make fun of cats for set of visual effects now. And I was surprised Corden agreed to do it initially, because I know he had like ripped the movie. He's like, I heard that was terrible, remember? And then I realized, oh wait, you're also ripping the movie again. I get it. That was smart.
No, I thought that was great. I thought most of the presenters were pretty good. To your point about the people introducing the people who were saying the nominees, George McKay actually called it out at the end. He's like, yeah, we're short on time, so I'm going to come up here to announce who's going to be announcing the awards. So let's just keep doing that. Like he just called it right out, which I appreciated from a young actor like that. You named a lot of the good ones. I thought at the beginning, I guess they probably didn't give out an award, but Steve Martin and Chris Rock were absolutely awesome. Like on their game. I wish they had taken a shot at Jeff Bezos for not paying more in taxes. I thought that for sure was coming, but I'm okay with that. I also thought Tom Hanks, he didn't give out an award, but he talked about the museum opening for the Academy in December. And I thought he was hilarious, kind of, talking about how they were all over there working on it today. And Brad Pitt was working with his shirt off, and Colin Jost had a shirt off too. He's like, no contest there. That was killing me. What did you think of the speeches? I thought like we said, Bong, great speech. I thought Brad Pitt had a great speech. Renee, I don't really know where she was going with that.
Renee was kind of all over the place all year. Like, not bad. She seemed to be scattershot, but you could tell she meant well. So it's whatever.
And what about Joaquin? How did that land for you?
I loved Joaquin's.
Yeah.
He's been trying to say something meaningful this whole time. And I like hearing that, you know,
Yeah.
like rather than do the bland, let me list a bunch of names. And like, you know, he mentioned in the beginning, he's like, yeah, I've been a dick before. Like I've made mistakes. I never said I was perfect either.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, I using that platform, using that space to actually say something meaningful that is honestly completely inoffensive and should not be like seen as anything partisan. If you really think about what he's saying, I like hearing that. You know.
No, I completely agree. I thought it was a nice speech. I saw people online kind of going back and forth on it. But I appreciate that he's using the platform. And also I thought it was he wrapped it up really nicely, giving his brother River a
Yeah,
shout out.
rip.
Speaking of Rip, Billie Eilish doing the In Memoriam, singing Yesterday with Phineas on the keys. Wow. Little goosebumps when she first started, man. I thought she absolutely killed it. Now I just want to hear Billie Eilish do more Beatles covers. Like, just give her all the work.
I mean, coming off the 5 Grammy wins, she did put her foot in her mouth recently talking about hip hop and lying with that. So maybe we'll talk about that at a later date. But yeah, with this, now we know the Bond song. We're gonna hear her Bond song in less than 2 months or so.
She's in fuego, man.
Billy's crushing it, man. 18 years old.
Completely in fuego. Other thoughts, other things you want to shout out, things you like, didn't like.
So we mentioned the music. Now I thought Elton John's rendition of "I'm Gonna Love Me Again," the original song they made for Rocket Man, was fantastic.
So good.
I mean, we know, you know, Elton can sit at a piano and rock a room like few can. That goes without saying. But it just kind of reminded me that, oh yeah, that song's actually like really great. Yeah. Like I kind of forgot because it's I heard it back in May. It's been a while.
A deserved win for that song. And yeah, Elton, man, he sounds really good. Like he's either in the middle or just finished up his final tour. So
yeah, he said this before. Maybe it was at the Globes, but he's like, yeah, me and Bernie have never really won anything like this before. And it's like people are being like, why does Elton keep saying that? He's won Grammys and he's won Oscars before.
Yeah, he had an Oscar already, but like, maybe with Bernie.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But Bernie's won stuff too. We just got to ask him. What do you mean by that?
How about
one of the awards we thought was up in the air, certainly was not a lock, was animated feature film, which ended up going to Toy Story 4 in the end, an early award of the night. We know Klaus had won a few things. Missing Link even won the Globe, so we were seeing what happened, but we didn't get the full anarchy moment. Toy Story 4 still won in the end.
Yep. No, that I was pleased with that. Only seeing that one from the category, I was glad that one won. Yeah, and other than that, there wasn't anything that stood out too much. I mean, Laura Dern won. I guess I was surprised Parasite won screenplay. I really expected Once Upon a Time. Let's go to Tarantino, but like you said, that one was a possibility in play. Right. And yeah, adapted screenplay going to JoJo. That was kind of like the thanks for coming out award for Taika.
Right.
But I thought he had a nice speech when he was up there too.
He did. Yeah.
Seemed a little overwhelmed, but overall good.
Yeah. Honestly, I was kind of hoping he'd have like something more clever to say, to be honest. Taika, but it's all good. Yeah, I mean, in terms of awards that like were actually like in play, obviously considering how well it went for Parasite tonight, I guess the award that I'm most disappointed in is adapted screenplay, just because I really wanted Little Women to win. I guess then after that, I guess Little Women for score as well. We both really like Dick Platt's score. But yeah, man, the good shit won. It's pretty wild. American Factory won doc feature. We kind of expected that.
And no Oscars for Thanos.
No Oscars for Thanos. Marvel is now 0 for 10 in best visual effects. Pretty wild. They can just keep all the money they make. I'm sure they'll be happy with that.
I thought one thing that the show did really well was they did not muzzle the presenters at all about calling out the discrepancy in the racial difference in how many white people are nominated for these awards versus black people.
Steve Martin and Chris Rock kicked that off right away.
Yep. The disparity between how many men are nominated for these awards versus how many women are nominated for these awards was called out a lot. And I thought actually a really great moment when they had
like 60-30. It's still a really bad split.
Yeah, and they had Sigourney Weaver up there with Gal Gadot and Brie
Great.
Larson, and they announced that the conductor for the live band is the first female conductor, and then they did the medley of all the
Mhm.
scores. I thought that was a really great
Yeah.
moment. So they really did a pretty good job this year of just kind of letting the show like just be what it was supposed to be. They did like not having a host. I think allows them to be a little bit more creative with some of these things and allow more people to get an input, which is just delightful.
Also, no one really got played off with their speech, right?
Parasite
And
almost did. They
yeah,
shut the lights off on him.
well, it was like that too. It's like honestly, we're there to watch people win
Mhm.
and tell us how they feel about winning. So if it's gonna go over, let it go over.
Right.
And as we've been saying, cut the middlemen, presenter, and announcer people, cut some of the songs. That way, it's
Mhm.
even more baked in time to hear people win. Uh, Similar to idea with that. There's those like honorary awards that they gave out to like Wes Studi and some
Mhm.
other folks, David
Gina
Lynch
Gina Davis.
and Gina Davis. They used to do that at the actual Oscars. They should do that again. Like I'd like to see those people
Hmm.
talk.
Yeah.
Part of it, like that, just seems like a more valuable thing to present
Then Eminem.
in the main
Yeah.
broadcast than Eminem. Like I feel like you could make it fit. I think pretty simply. So
No, I think so
just a
too,
note.
and there's definitely fat to be cut, and it's not a perfect broadcast, but it feels like it's getting better. Feels like they're definitely listening to more input and kind of figuring out how to make this more of a pleasurable viewing experience.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just a shout out to someone I know we both stand for, Olivia Colman. Just so delightful.
Oh
Just
yeah.
put her in front of a microphone more often. She's always just so fun. Any other thoughts? I mean, I'm still like stirring off this Parasite. Man,
I know. You know,
it's so great when the things
I'd
that
love to
deserve
get
to
a
be
more
made.
accurate breakdown of the demographics in the Academy, just because Parasite clearly had some really broad support, and that's despite the fact that it's a foreign language film. It's just kind of hard to grasp, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of talk about we have these every year. Those anonymous voter diaries where they express some hot take because they don't have to put their name on it. And there was some, like borderline xenophobic thoughts on Parasite because it's not in English and shit like that. And it's kind of cool to see that shit get shot down in such a major way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I was kind of preparing myself. All right, 1917 wins Best Picture, but Bong still got director. That's more than I expected anyway, realistically. So I'll take it. And then we actually get the whole thing. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. What a night, I'm just so pleased with this Oscars. That obviously the awards could have been, the nominees could have been more diverse.
Mhm.
But in the end, the having this as the outcome just feels like the Academy is moving in a direction that feels right, which is nice. And I think
Right.
the work that they've been doing to uh, build out the Academy, bring in more people to make it a more diverse population, hopefully is moving in a direction where we're starting to see this sort of thing happen more often. The movies that actually deserve it, the people that actually deserve it, are getting the nominations, getting the awards, getting the recognition. Because for too long, it's been just kind of cut and dry one way. And I think seeing more and more of this sort of thing happening is just really encouraging. Yeah.
Thinking back too, I mean, obviously female directors are still getting underlooked, to say the least.
Mhm.
That's obvious. But the people that are winning Best Director is actually being quite diverse. You think, obviously, Bong winning first Korean nominated, period, let alone win. I think he's first Korean nominated.
Quran.
Before that, yeah, we've had Cuarón, we've had Inarritu, we had Del Toro, we had a lot of Mexican men. I mean,
Yep.
Damien Chazelle was like the last white guy to win. Ang Lee, not that long ago. Like it's Best
Spike
Directors.
Lee.
Yeah, it's been pretty diverse. So, especially with the winners. So that's cool. Yeah, man, this is awesome. I'm looking forward to doing early predictions for next year.
Yeah.
I made a doc of movies coming out this year, and it's very, very long already. So there's lots of stuff
to
consider.
Dune this year?
Dune's this year. Dune's the Dune's our December holiday movie because there's no Star Wars or Avatar this year.
AKA the 1917 of this year. It's
Imagine Denny.
It's gonna make that push. And I think in terms of technical awards, I think it's gonna be right up that alley. But you're gonna have Chalamet balling out too. So I do want to say Timothy Chalamet's jacket tonight was not a fan. The zipper, come on.
Yeah, he looked
a little kiddish.
I expect that shit from his buddy Ansel Elgort. You know, like that's a little like he's a really sharp looking dude. He doesn't need to downgrade like that. You know,
Florence Pugh though, I think
goddess.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw you retweeted this, but someone tweeted that people should be whispering to her to do a Madonna biopic every day, and I am 100% on board with that.
We already know.
Make it happen.
We already know Timmy's doing the Bob Dylan biopic, so let's keep that up. I'm sure we can get Saoirse doing something too.
I'm sure.
Shout out 1917 Deakins won cinematography, his second win in 3 years after waiting forever to win. I appreciate all the Roger Deakins thirst online. He is still a very handsome man. And I like seeing that. That's funny shit.
Man, and so deserving. You know, when they were showing some of the shots and just thinking about all the different ones, whether it's the scene where they're in that blown up town at night with like the flares like lighting it, or him running across that field and how bright that is, it's just well deserved. So it's so nice to see these things kind of come out. The one thing I'm disappointed in that Once Upon a Time didn't get more love, you know, still won 2 awards tonight with best supporting actor and production design, which I was actually pumped to see it win production design. But,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a little disappointed just because it was so good. I feel like that's like like the timing of it almost hurt it a little bit. But Parasite came out like May, so Parasite's been for
also shout out the guys, the folks that won for Hair Love animated short. That was the heavy favorite. That was a nice speech.
Yeah,
you can watch that on YouTube right now if you want. Again, it's a short film. It doesn't take long. Yeah, man, this was great. It didn't feel long to me. I think that's because I was having a good time most of the time, even though it did in fact run quite long. So resounding success.
I agree.
Yeah, even at our most optimistic, I did not expect it to truly go this way.
We're going to wrap up there for the night. We might have some more thoughts. This is our initial reactions right after the awards show wraps up. So we might have some more thoughts tomorrow, but we'll also be talking a couple other things on this week's podcast. So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button, whether you're on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Wherever. Give us that follow, that review, share us. Peace out.